Beautiful. How could things not be better when you have dynamic and winners, dynamic person, I beg your pardon, getting emotional, yeah, Christian, like Arison Tamful, and of course young, dynamic and entrepreneurial women like DIANE, NDEUNA, joining us today to talk about the achievements, how they got there. Certainly for Arison Tamful, you will not doubt, because you know exactly the kind of impact he has had on media professionals in the country and out of the country. And some of you who are doing journalism and mass communication at the University of Boya today, and some of you still in the profession will have to like fine-tune your writing skills to be able to write like him, and who knows, someday you may just go to Kigali and also win the CTA award. Let's say good morning to Mr. Arison Tamful and Mrs. DIANE, NDEUNA, joining us to talk about the Global Entrepreneur Week that will be launched next week. Good morning, sir. Good morning, madam. Thanks for joining us on the Good Morning Cameroon show.
Good morning to you, Amy.
It's a pleasure having you. I'm so excited. I just feel like hooray, hooray, hooray. And I have dynamic people here to share the experience with people out there who need to understand that things happen for a reason. Sometimes there's pain, but at the end of the story, there's always gain. Let me start with the winner. You are a winner as well, ma'am. But you know, this is burning news, and Cameroonians are so proud out there to know that Arison Tamful came back from Kigali last November 7 with the CTA competition award. How does it feel to carry that trophy?
It's great, you know. As far as I'm concerned, it's a mark of pride and honor for me and my country, because this extended beyond Cameroon and beyond Africa. It actually included countries of the ACP. Countries of the ACP are the government of the African countries, and also the Caribbean and the Pacific. So the competition included these journalists. It was an international competition. And to imagine that Tamful sitting in front of you was a winner, it's a great thing. What do you think?
Oh, it's very great. And I keep like begging him, and I keep teasing him that I'm going to be part of that award too, because I'm the kid sister, right? Don't I deserve it? I sure deserve it. So what did it take you to be part of this competition? Well,
it was a competition that was launched by CTA. CTA is an abbreviation for the Center for Technical Agriculture Corporation. It's actually an institution that was set up by the government of the ACP countries, but it's sponsored by the European Union. When I talk about the government of the CTA ACP countries, it also includes Cameroon. So this competition was launched for African journalists and the journalists of the Caribbean and the Pacific, extending to the Asian continent, to write reports on how the information and communication technology can boost agriculture in this part of the world. So entries were called from all over the world. And a lot of people did apply, and they wrote stories in that regard. And 6 finalists, semi-finalists, were selected from across the globe. And so we traveled to Kigali, and we spent more than a week there competing who will be the first 3 finalists. So it was a tough task, because we were giving 4 assignments to do within a very short period. You can imagine, and the 6 journalists were some of the best in Africa and in the Asian continent.
How, amongst whom is Arison Tamful, and we're proud to know that.
Well, you say that I'm one of the best. That's your opinion, because I consider
it's not my opinion, because you're carrying the trophy, sir.
Indeed, is also thanks to God.
Yes.
Because to imagine that this number of people did apply for this contest, and you won, you think it's due to hard work? There's so many good journalists, so many that are better than I, but they were not part of it. And to imagine that I won it with the other journalists from other parts of the country, because there were actually 3 of us. The first, unfortunately, came from Kenya, and the second came from Cameroon, and you can imagine that who is that person?
His name is Tamful, Arison Tamful, sitting right next to me, and next to DIANE, NDEUNA.
Yes, and the 3rd came from South Africa. The journalists from the Asian continent, us from Africa, were too intelligent for them.
Oh, very, very beautiful, especially when we know that many times out there in some of these competitions it's difficult for the Anglophones from Cameroon to participate, because there's this image of Cameroon being only a Francophone country.
That's a big problem. It's a big problem. People think that in Cameroon we speak only French. So they were actually surprised that a journalist from Cameroon is there and is competing in English. Not only English, good English. You know what that means?
I know what
that
it
is
means.
why initially I said it's pride and honor for me and the country. Because this gave a different image of Cameroon to the rest of the world. And it was not just the trophy. We had to come back home with something. We'll talk about that after the program.
Yes, we're going to be talking about that after the program. Permit me to introduce the lady beside you. She's also a winner because she wins the hearts of so many women out there who, for some reasons, do not believe in themselves and do not know that they have to develop something in them that is called an it. This thing is a potential that sometimes slips in them because they do not know who they are and maybe they are not even confident about who they are. So let's welcome her to talk about the Global Entrepreneurship Week that will be launched all over the world sometime next week. Good morning, ma'am.
Bonjour Amy, c'est toujours un plaisir d'être là. Bonjour également à tous les téléspectateurs qui nous suivent ce matin et bravo à Thème pour son prix. Donc je suis encore là ce matin pour parler donc, de la semaine mondiale de l'entrepreneuriat, comme tu l'as mentionné plus haut, qui aura lieu la semaine prochaine du 18 au 24 novembre.
Talking about the Global Entrepreneurship Week, what is this week all about? What is it presenting to the public? And who can take part of this event? And why don't we hear people talk about it more than often? And how is the Association of Eden that you run going to organize events that will highlight on this week and sensitize people in public campaigns to understand what they must do as entrepreneurs to develop themselves and their countries?
D'accord. Parler de la Semaine mondiale de l'entrepreneuriat, normalement, son but, c'est justement d'encourager des personnes à entrer dans l'entrepreneuriat, parce que quand je regarde notre contexte socio-économique, on a beaucoup plus d'entreprenants que d'entrepreneurs. Donc là, il y a une différence parce qu'un entrepreneur, c'est une personne qui a une démarche, c'est une personne qui a une vision, qui va quelque part, qui a une destination. Contrairement donc à l'entrepreneur, qui est simplement ce qu'on voit beaucoup plus dans le secteur de l'informel, on fait les mêmes choses. En fait, on exerce beaucoup plus des activités de subsistance plutôt que des activités véritablement économiques. Mais maintenant, ce que nous on fait à Eden, par exemple, Eden qui signifie Entrepreneurship Development Educational Network, ce que nous faisons, c'est que nous ne faisons pas uniquement des activités pour la semaine de l'entrepreneuriat, mais nous préparons le terrain justement pour que cette semaine-là, nos activités soient plus intenses. Et depuis le début de l'année, justement, on a eu à mener des programmes de formation, parce que nous faisons des formations pour des groupes de personnes et nous offrons ces formations-là avec des amis à qui je dis bonjour. Nous offrons ces formations-là gratuitement et cette fois-ci, on a formé sur 7 thèmes de formation. Le premier, c'était découvrir son potentiel et le valoriser. On a formé également en leadership et en management, en gestion du temps, en prise de parole en public. On a formé sur la négociation commerciale, la gestion et la planification des projets. Et enfin, on a terminé avec une formation sur le montage de business plan. Donc, vous comprenez que nous, on prépare l'entrepreneuriat toute l'année. Et la semaine de l'entrepreneuriat, pour nous, c'est une occasion justement de pouvoir dire à ces jeunes-là, d'accord, vous avez reçu les outils, mais maintenant, nous vous encourageons à lancer votre propre entreprise. Et nous avons donc prévu une compétition qui aura lieu plutôt là. On a différé ça d'une seule semaine. Le 6 décembre prochain, c'est les Eden Best Businessman Awards. On va récompenser, donc on va primer les 3 meilleurs plans d'affaires. Donc, en fait, pour nous, c'est une initiative que nous entreprenons comme ça afin d'encourager ces personnes-là à lancer leur propre entreprise parce qu'elles ont reçu des outils, mais maintenant, il faut qu'elles puissent mettre ça en pratique afin justement d'être de bons agents de développement économique au sein du Cameroun.
All right, in a few seconds before we go and meet Marilyn Baby for fashion, because she presents fashion every Friday on the Good Morning Cameroon show, and Christian Wome, you tell us exactly what you've planned for next week in a few seconds.
Ce que nous avons planifié, comme je l'ai dit, c'est simplement justement faire du coaching pour ces groupes-là afin que chacun puisse produire son plan d'affaires. Parce que produire un plan d'affaires, c'est produire une entreprise. On a déjà préparé les profils avec les formations. Mais maintenant, on leur demande de produire un plan d'affaires et justement faire du coaching toute la semaine prochaine. On fait également la sensibilisation au niveau de entrer dans l'entrepreneuriat et non pas être des entrepreneurs. Car on ne peut développer véritablement un pays que si on entre dans l'entrepreneuriat. Et quand je parle ici d'entrepreneuriat, c'est la structure. Et c'est l'occasion pour moi ici de signifier également que moi j'ai apprécié quelque chose qui a été fait par le gouvernement camerounais la semaine dernière, à savoir la cellule de mise à niveau des entreprises. C'est quelque chose qui est important parce que ça permet justement de restructurer le paysage informel qu'on a actuellement et donc on pourra être dans une économie beaucoup plus stable avec des personnes véritablement formées.
And hopefully on VOV we're going to make a focus on that so she should explain what this week is all about. Any future projects, sir, rapidly, just a few seconds please.
Not that much, just to investigate corruption in Cameroon. That's all.
Thank you so very much. Over to you, Christian Wame, as you talk to Madame Fashion presenting caps. Caps that you can wear to go to the beach at Kribi or maybe a Limbe, all cities without A. Over.